Okay.
All right. My name is Matthew Kimsey, and I did my presentation on the impact of community on teen health. My research question was, should high schools in America mandate participation in final period extracurricular activities to build third places among high schoolers who struggle with loneliness and depression? To set some context, 40% of high schoolers have reported struggling with sadness and hopelessness. 20% of high schoolers consider suicide consistently, while 9% actually attempt to take their own lives. And these stats are found in the CDC, which stands for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. 4,000 9th through 12th graders attempt suicide every day. 1,952 teenage lives were lost to suicide in 2021, according to the Parent Resource Program. My stimulus connection was the second stimulus, our epidemic of loneliness and isolation, which I used to build research and statistics on how loneliness actually affected teen lives, as well as spaces of consumption, connection, and community, exploring the role of the coffee shop in urban lives, which I used to get a better understanding of what a third place was and what it could look like in a community. 3,700 to 4,000 students attempt suicide every single day in America. Anywhere between 40 to 73% of people aged 16 to 24 have reported struggling with loneliness, according to GBH News. As shown in this chart done by BBC News, 16 to 24-year-olds can be seen as the loneliness of all age groups. In 2010, 44% of high schoolers reported having a place where they could gather, hang out with friends, and just spend time in their community every day. And 22%, in 2022, only 32% reported having a gathering place. The Hill, this research was done by The Hill, and it can be shown in this graph here. Psychiatrist.com has done a study on the persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness among teenagers and found that female students actually struggle more than males, with 57% of female high schoolers struggling with loneliness and 29% of male students. Chronic loneliness, seen in 16 to 24-year-olds, is projected to lead to severe depression and other health risks, according to the National Library of Medicine. Loneliness can also lead to health issues such as heart failure and diabetes. This is according to Dr. Vivek Murthy in the U.S. Office of the Surgeon General, and can be seen in this chart that they had in their article, The Loneliness Epidemic. It can be seen that lacking social connection is actually more dangerous than smoking 15 cigarettes a day, drinking six alcoholic beverages a day, the lack of physical inactivity, and obesity. My thesis statement is that American high schools should mandate participation in extracurricular activities in final period classes because they would build third places among high schoolers who struggle with various mental health issues, such as depression and loneliness. So, what is a third place? Emily McGowan defines a third place as a familiar public spot where you regularly connect with people, known and unknown, over a shared interest or activity. Third places have been shown to build community and limit loneliness. The three main health impactors social connection have on teenagers especially come from the biology, psychology, and behavior, all of which come from social connection and lead to health outcomes. On the biological side of things, social connection can lower cortisol, which is the stress hormone in our body, boost oxytocin, which is the hormone of connection, and also strengthen the immune system, which would lead to better health and less diseases in general. On the psychological point of view, social connection can develop an identity in teenagers as well as form a sense of who they are. It also causes people to psychologically sync up, which means that they are having similar thoughts as each other, as well as better pursuing a shared goal, meaning that they can get more work done together in a social connection in person. Behaviorally, the social connection creates the motivation to collaborate, meaning that people who are consistently in social connection and building community with others have a stronger desire to help other people achieve their goals, as well as psychologically expecting people to help them share their goals or complete their goals in return. It also has been shown to reduce anxiety and depression. some major refutations to the depression and loneliness in teenagers, as well as their need for third places, are that many studies have revealed that the studies actually showing teen depression are flawed. This means that they think that they either didn't survey a large enough group or surveyed a very targeted group in a small community. One study from NPR shows a 3% decline in suicidal thoughts from 2021 to 2024, meaning that they believe that suicide is actually lowering as we're coming out of the pandemic, and that teens are no longer suffering from depression and loneliness as much. However, suicide still remains one of the leading causes of deaths in America. It is the second most. It has caused the second most deaths among people aged 10 to 24. This is college seniors all the way down to second and third graders committing suicide, and it being the second most leading cause of death in that age group. It has also been reported to be the third most deaths among college students, according to the CDC. Social isolation in any form can lead to anxiety and depression. Dr. Vivek Murthy and his team, the U.S. Office of Surgeon Generals, have shown that any form of social isolation, whether it's building most of your community online or just lacking social connection at all, can lead to health risks such as diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular failure, and many more. The first limitation that I found in my research is that many students find more positives in choosing to study hall during the elective period because they think that they can get more work done that way. However, schools would have the ability to shorten class periods or shorten break time to leave a 30 to 45 minute period at the end of the day for students to participate in extracurricular activities while still giving them the chance to have a study hall. The second limitation is that high schoolers often struggle to find interest in any clubs or activities at school. But Prep Scholar built a step-by-step program to start a new club at your high school. It's only 8 steps, and they claim that if high schoolers would just take the first step in talking to administration, it would be much simpler than they presume. So in summary, teenagers have to find community. Community can be found through schools, creating third places for students. Third places will boost health and lower mental health issues. Although it won't be easy for schools to implement these extra periods right away, teen depression and suicide can be limited by adding extra, shortened periods to give students a chance to build community and pursue their passions through extracurricular activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A couple of follow-up questions to your very engaging research. How does your research question evolve as you move through this research process?
I would say my research question evolved mainly from just focusing solely on teen depression and loneliness. My original research question was just trying to find a broad solution to depression from high schoolers to college students. But as I did more research, I realized how broad that was and how there was no way to have any targeted research. So instead, I altered my research question to focus on how high schools could take the first step in solving teen depression and loneliness for teenagers.
Thank you. And finally, what is the implication of your findings to the community where you live?
I would say that my findings could greatly impact the community around me, because I myself have struggled from suicidal thoughts and depression, and I've had friends that have committed suicide in the past, as well as friends who have attempted suicide and failed, and I believe that if high schools were to take this first step in assisting students to find community, it would lower depression rates, as well as halt this severe suicidal epidemic that is coming across teenagers, even in my community.